Labor Day greeted with this news on the movie front. Summer 2014 movie attendance was at a 17-year low. That's not too great news right there. Guardians of the Galaxy was the number one movie this year. So why aren't people? Well, I guess it's obvious why people aren't going to the movies.
There's nothing interesting to go see.
That's not really true. You have quality movies. I think you guys aren't looking at a bigger thing. This is not just true with movies. This is true. Movies are a part of consumer spending. People don't have the disposable income they once did, even though we are in some sort of recovery. This is something that's, I talk to a lot of people. There's two things going on here, and I was thinking about this yesterday. It's really, people don't have the disposable income they once did. And when you go to the movies, it's usually, I'm going to say right now, it's not a matinee, but an adult price is between $11.50 and $15 at most places. You count in 3D or IMAX, it's more. Now you count that into a family of 3 or 4, you're not even getting to the concession stand yet. Everything has gone up except for wages. Everything has gone up in the last 30 years has gone up except for wages. Wages have been stagnant. This is actually something that's not being thrown in the because if you're going to talk about quality, there were some really, as far as studio movies go, some really good movies this summer. So that's not the problem. There's also another problem, though, that is tied in the income. People aren't going back to see these movies again and again. That was a big thing that made all 6 Star Wars movies very popular. People are going back to see them again and again. Even these early Transformer movies, people are going back to see them again. But people are not going back to see them. That's why you have something. You have $200 million grossers and not $300 million grossers in this country. The other thing that ties into the economy is you have many more ways to view these things. People are going to wait. Why would you go rush out to see something when in 3 months it's going to be on DVD and in 5 months it's going to be on cable or on demand? So that's something to consider.
I think that's the cultural shift that has the longest term ramifications.
Yeah,
because it's how they view going to the movies, and people are becoming more and more averse to going out. Period. So, especially when they can get it from the comfort of their own home.
Can I ask you guys a question? When was the last time you went to a movie that was sold out?
Oh, God.
Okay, I rest my case.
Even when I went to go see Guardians,
even
when I went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy on a Sunday afternoon opening weekend, it wasn't sold out.
It's very rare, unless it's a limited release like art house release or something, very rare that I will see a movie that is sold out in the last 3 or 4 years.
At the Atlanta Film Festival, there was a movie there that was Raid 2 sold out, and then but that was a one-time screening of it.
Right, of course.
And so those kind of things, yes. But I
want to also throw in something else, and then Jamie, about the different ways that we watch movies. I've had several conversations with people over the last couple months, and it really does come down to this. The idea of paying for something has become alien to a younger, not all younger generation, but I talk to younger people, and the idea of actually paying to go to a movie or paying for a book, buying a book is an alien thing. Buying a CD is a dinosaur.
Yeah.
But the idea, this is happening to movies, and I see it. I am going to be very curious. Now, they're all in the same article, because I read the article in Huffington Post early yesterday morning. They seem to think 2015 is going to be this all, and there's a lot of stuff coming. They say this every year for like the last 2 or 3 years. It's going to be a great year. Next year will be the true test to see if this shift is really permanent. Because I got to tell you, if a Star Wars movie and a Mission Impossible 5 movie and an Avengers movie, and I think even a James Bond movie can't pack them in repeated viewings, That's Jamie. That's the true cultural shift there.
You know when you'll know when it's really changed is when they spend something like $100 million on a movie they plan to release direct to VOD. You know, but I don't necessarily think this is totally like a bad thing in terms of quality of movies, because maybe we'll get more smaller movies about human beings that we all long for, because of the shift. But you know, then again, maybe not. But I really see it in music. I mean, it's been going on in music forever. But you know what I really miss about music? Because the greatest period of music for me was the purity of the singer-songwriter, especially in the 70s. Right. Where every track in an album mattered. Now, since you don't have to pay for anything and everything's buy it per song on iTunes and all that kind of stuff, the art of the actual album has been lost.
Yeah, the collection of an album, like the sequencing and everything, the masterful, artwork and liner notes and photos and any sort of extras that are in there. All that's gone.
Not even that. I mean, a single song is just part of the cohesive whole. I mean, there's no vision of those 10 songs making up a whole kind of.
Yeah,
this is where
that's what I'm talking about. Like I am talking about like the sequencing of an album, like the building of from the opening song to the closing song, and and even to go back further, like the interesting when there was vinyl, like the interesting thing about what was on side 1 and side 2 and where side 3 and side 4.
Vinyl made a comeback.
Yeah,
vinyl has made a comeback. I mean, I like that. I still buy CDs. If there's something I really want to get, I'm going to buy it on CD. I don't buy that many iTunes. I just don't really. It's just something I like the CD, and I know it's going, and I think in maybe 2 years it will be completely gone probably, but because you just got to find a place to buy them, and those places are going out of business as it is. So I mean.
You can't even, you walk into a Best Buy, you can't even buy a movie or a CD anymore.
I know, it's getting pretty ridiculous. I was noticing that the other day, too. I was like, man. I mean, really, seriously, I don't even go out to, I used to go out to the mall and everything, but I don't go out to the malls at all anymore because all of my
they're not
favorite
malls
stores
anymore.
But all my favorites, there are, but when you go to them, or there are in Atlanta at least. But when you go to them, there are no bookstores, there are no record stores, there's no movie stores, there's no media stores at all. So there's no reason to go.
Yeah, no, there isn't. I mean, you got Barnes and Noble, but that's a piss poor excuse for a bookstore. I mean,
and it doesn't exist in every mall.
It doesn't. Our Barnes and Noble closed down, and then I think.
Well, you know why it closed? The lease was up. That's why, not because of business. It was just the lease. If the lease is up, they're not going to renew it.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they renew it? Because it's not a profitable enterprise. They fell behind, just like Borders, on offering the Kindle stuff, the e-reader stuff. Nobody's buying physical books.
Yeah, no, that's the main thing. But
if nobody's buying your product, you're not going to stay open.
No, but this is something I actually know something about, having worked within it for many years. It's just bad decisions on top. No one knows how. A lot of people blame. I mean, I can tell you, Borders was going to go out of business in 2000. It was very poorly managed, and it's a shame because of the three major chains, that was the best one. That was the best place to work for a while, and Barnes & Noble is going the same way as Borders, but it's just bad management decisions. The only thing Barnes & Noble cares about is selling memberships. And let me ask you something. Would you pay $25 for a membership there?
I never. No. They always ask me to do that, and I never do it.
And it's not worth it. It's really not worth it at all. Because are you going to spend? You're not into that much. You're not going to buy these things. And why would you want something to a place that might not be open in a couple of months? So it's a combination of bad management. These are all things because no one understood how. There are ways around this, but because the last place of because in one sense, unfortunately, the bookstore as a department store was a bad idea. I don't care who you were. The bookstore as modeling after a department store was never a great idea. They kept it as a smaller
with coffee places and stuff, and
they made
all
it
that.
too big. It became too big, and then the building you're going after such a small segment of the population, anyways. The population that reads. You don't need a Borders, 4 or 5 different bookstores, 4 or 5 of the same stores within a 10-mile radius. You really don't. You're asking for failure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, the move AMC. You know, and AMC was always on the cutting edge. I mean, in terms of making little adjustments or big adjustments that kind of redefine the industry. I mean, they invented the stadium seating. They invented the cup holder armrests. They started their own, just like you said, patron. What's the word for it? Patron program, loyalty program, the movie watcher program. I think that died. I'm pretty sure it died. But I mean, they tried a lot of stuff, and now they're trying the really high end stuff. Like you can eat like 4-star meals and reclining chairs, which real distraction for me. I mean, the last time I did that, I went to see The Expendables 2 in like one of these dine-in restaurants, and I was like, this just doesn't feel right.
No, it doesn't. It's a different
irritating.
thing.
You don't want to be surrounded by a bunch of waitrons and everything coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good. I mean, our local landmark
remodel. Going to the movies is about.
You know, you go to what? I mean, the last thing I need is something that's going to make me want to get up and go to the bathroom during a really important part of the movie.
Yeah, or Skippy coming up, and asking you if you want a refill on your drink or whatever while somebody's getting their head blown off.
It was a crime game.
Whatever.
Imagine if it was a key scene in the crime game and Skippy comes up. What did you do? I just missed the most important scene in the movie.
Yeah, Skippy comes up and says, "Here's your hot dog, sir." During the crime game.
That really gets you into the movie that way, yeah.
No, but I do want to.
Oh, but they're doing other stuff too. Let me say that they're doing other stuff. They're doing other William Castle stuff because now you can. I know you guys are aware of this. Now you can pay for a single seat in the theater that will shake and rock and mist water on you if there's like a water scene in a movie. It does all this stuff.
I haven't heard about this. It'll spray water on you.
And that's old school. I mean, people think, what a new idea. But that's something like William Castle would have done.
Hey, let me ask you this. If there's a sex scene, do you get fucked in the chair?
Yeah, I mean, that would make it all worthwhile for me there.
No, that's the $25 you pay for the actual ticket. That's
right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, I agree with all of this. But I do think it is a thing, I know a lot of people want to say, the quality of the movies has gone down. And I would say that on some years I would say that, but this year has actually been a decent, had a nice variety to pick from. I do think it's just people, the combination, people don't have the money they once did. You have a middle class that's eroding as we speak.
By the way, can I say something I say something that helps to address this, address the quality of the movies? I actually think the quality of the movies has been pretty good this summer. But if you look at the if you look at the stories like that are about the fact that Guardians of the Galaxy is the only big hit of the summer, really, other than maybe I guess if you want to count the Captain America movie, but as a summer release, but. If you look at these articles about this issue, a lot of the commenters come on and they say that let's just say these are probably like sort of fanboyish kind of commenters here, but they particularly don't like the quality of the movies this summer, which is to say that maybe the movies weren't dumb enough for them.
No, I think that's a good point. But you got to be weary of the comment section of this because there's so many trolls and everything.
I know that. I know that. I kind of stay away from comments.
I have to.
But I definitely agree. But I was just curious to see what they said, and there were a lot of people who went on there saying, "Well, I just haven't seen anything that I really wanted to see." That is not. I do retract my statement that the movies haven't been good because I've seen a lot of good movies this summer.
Yeah, I mean,
But here's what Hollywood's going to do because the powers that be that determine what Hollywood does, they are slow learners. So what they do every single time when something hits, and we've talked about it many times on the show, they kill it by repeating the same thing over and over and over again.
Imitating it.
I think what Spielberg and Lucas said a few years back is actually going to happen. They're going to kill themselves because they're going to only produce these tentpoles. That will be the only worthwhile thing to them until people are going to get completely sick of them. And no one's going to...
And then nobody will go to the movies at all.
And that will kill. That will force. This is my hope. That will force the industry to completely redefine itself, and hopefully there'll be another renaissance as a result. Now that's hopeful, wishful thinking, but it's a possibility.
It's a possibility. I'm afraid something even worse is going to happen, and you're seeing it in the last couple of years. We're not even considered first anymore. Domestic box office isn't even really considered, and I think that it's going to be they're going to placate to China, and mainly China it seems like, and maybe one day even Africa that they're going. It just seems like we're an afterthought. It seems.
You go where the money is. You go where the money is. But Transformers 4, it has made $1 billion worldwide. So Guardians might have beaten it here in the States, but it hasn't come anywhere close to it internationally. And I don't know that Guardians...
Well, it hasn't been released internationally.
It hasn't been released in China.
No.
But even so, I don't think it has the kind of audience awareness that something like a Transformers has after 3 previous movies. And
I mean, of course, and then there's the humor issue, which is humor is hard to translate over, and
that's something else. If we talk about quality of movie, and this is like this is really the thing that rang the death knell of the director-driven industry in the 70s that we all love so much. Because once you go with the mentality of appealing to as many audiences around the world as possible, your stuff becomes so watered down and compromised that it's just it's barely even there anymore. I think that's what happens with a lot of this stuff.
I agree.
Well, you have focus groups. You have the focus. This won't play well here. This won't play well. Oh, this will play wonderfully there. And I think you're right. Once you start watering it down, once you basically take the movie out of the creative team's hands, you're done. You're done. You're finished. I mean, once you do that, and that goes for this country too. Even before all this started, once you take the movie out of the writer or the director or the creative parts of it, your movie's finished. When you start making the movie based on what people will like, as opposed to, hey, maybe let's give people something they haven't had before, you've lost.
But it's easy to become apocalyptic about all this stuff. But I seriously think, in the human condition, since our species was born, there has been a need to tell a story. So I think that this next generation of filmmakers, if this industry destroys itself, like I'm thinking it's going to eventually do, that next generation of filmmakers, that could be a really exciting time for them because they can rewrite the rule book.
We can only hope. I mean, I think you see it happening. You've seen it happen on television, and television has this huge renaissance. And I think you see it happen here in spots here and there in film, but it needs to happen on a massive.
Well, I guarantee you, if people were happy with movies, then television wouldn't be in this renaissance. The success of television should tell you one thing: people are hungry for story, and they're not getting it outside of the television set.
That's true.
Well,
I agree.
Let me just say this. Again, with the TV thing, I think the whole renaissance of TV is really coming from people realizing that the time that's allotted in a movie is really not enough time to tell a very detailed story. And with these TV series like Breaking Bad and Mad Men and so forth and Sopranos, you can do incremental changes in a series of characters over time, and this really transmits a feeling on the arc of a story or multiple stories.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. That, I mean, that's the structure of TV, what that allows you.
Right.
But then, I mean, everything's not suited for a miniseries or regular series. And think of the great movies in your life. Have you ever thought of those movies and thought, God, they just didn't have enough time to tell their story? No. I mean, it's entirely possible to tell a great story in a 2-hour framework.
Yeah, no, I mean, let's not forget the great, great movies.
Yeah, it is. There's, I used to have kind of a Reddit when I was working at Turner Network Television, and Lisa Mattis was my boss there, and so Phil Oppenheim too, who also I think still runs TNT, but they always. We used to have a kind of ongoing argument about, I was a huge movie fan, and they liked movies too, but they preferred television. And I said, why do you prefer television over movies? This was back in like the mid-'90s. And they said, because going to a TV series week in and week out is like visiting with a family, going back home. And I enjoy the revisitation with this family over and over again, and I enjoy seeing what's going to happen to them week after week after week, and that's just something that can't be replicated in movies. I'm just telling you the whole that this is not how I feel about movies versus TV. I love movies. I love television too, but that is a reason why TV is becoming more popular.
Well, I think TV has always been that. I mean, I think every series that people return to time and time again, whether we're talking about This Week or when All in the Family was on the air, they just wanted to revisit those people and be in their company. It's comfort food, and so are a lot of these comic book movies and stuff. It's like comfort food for people. But now TV is more nourishing. Now the reasons for liking TV go a lot deeper than that. They challenge you. That's what's so encouraging to me about TV. People are actually watching shows that challenge them.
Mm-hmm.
And all those great filmmakers that were working in the 80s and the 90s in the indie film scene, people like Keith Gordon and so forth.
Sure.
Are now in TV. I mean, John Dahl they're all
Steven Soderbergh being the biggest. Steven Soderbergh has really found his. I hope we'll see a lot more from him after this series is done. But